So one of the cool things about video game Easter eggs is showing them to your friends. But what happens when that Easter egg is no longer there? Well, you'll be called a liar and your reputation will be in pieces. But what if you weren't lying? What if the Easter egg was there, but it's since been removed? In today's video, we're taking a look at 10 Easter eggs that were removed from video games. Now, to be clear, I'm not talking about seasonal event Easter eggs like April Fools or Halloween. I'm talking about Easter eggs that were in the game and then removed, usually because somebody somewhere got upset. As always, if you think you know of an Easter egg that would have been perfect for this video, then let me know in the comments. And we are currently just 45,000 subscribers away from hitting 1 million subs. So if you haven't already, please help me out and tap subscribe. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with an Easter egg that might have been removed because of me. Now, I don't want people to get the wrong end of the stick. This channel is a very small fish in a very, very large creator-filled pond. But an Easter egg that I featured in a video last week isn't there anymore. On the Twisted Nerve mission in Ready or Not, you could find graffiti of this person on a door. Now, I thought that it looked like I Show Speed, but since then, loads of you commented that it was more likely Harold Hunter, a skater who died in 2006. And to be fair, that is more likely. Well, if you load up that same mission today, this is what you will find. So now it's just a door. Now, as far as I'm aware, this face had been in the game since early access, so why it's been removed now, I don't know. Of course, Ready or Not has come under a lot of fire recently, as the devs had to remove a ton of stuff from the game to make it suitable for console audiences, which unfortunately meant that the PC version was sanitized too, but I don't think that this graffiti falls under that category. Like I said, it's weird that I featured this Easter egg in a video and then a week later it was removed from the game. Perhaps it's a coincidence, or perhaps not. Let me know what you think. Now, I'm not ashamed to say that I love a good rickroll. I mean, I'm the guy that thinks inserting the thing every time I say here's the thing is funny. So what do you expect? Over the years, loads of games have tricked us into listening to the Rick Astley classic, which is kind of like tricking you into marrying Margot Robbie. It's not a trick if I'll enjoy it. Well, it turns out that pesky legal teams aren't so keen on developers referencing the 80s smash hit. In the user settings file for Helldivers 2, you could find a YouTube link which was apparently a link to a survey. Visiting the link would take you to Never Gonna Give You Up. And like I said, I always find this funny. Well, if you look at the same file now, the link has been replaced with legal forced me to remove the placeholder. I mean, I'm no expert, but I'm not sure what law was being broken by sharing a link to a YouTube video. And I for one am sad to see that there is now one less rickroll Easter egg in the world. Now, this next removed Easter egg is one that I was surprised was even in the game to begin with, so to see it removed didn't really come as a surprise. In Modern Warfare 2019, if you looked really, really carefully, you could find something sitting in the trees on the hilltop map. So it's kind of hard to make out, but in the tree is a predator in active camouflage.
Hey there, little fella.
No, not that kind of predator, this kind of predator. Now, of course, Call of Duty has partnered with Predator before, even allowing you to play as one in Call of Duty Ghosts. But it seems that partnership is long over, as if you look in the same tree now, you can find this. So the camouflage creature is now gone. It's a weird one because whilst the creature does look like the predator, it's invisible, so surely you could just argue that it's meant to be a reference to your mate Steve or something. Still, I'm guessing that Activision were pressured enough that they thought the best course of action was just to get rid of the Easter egg altogether. And I think that we can all agree that the real victim here is poor Steve. Now, it's not uncommon for developers to dunk on other games. I mean, Duke Nukem has made a career out of it.
Why so serious, Sam?
But it is pretty uncommon for developers to dunk on games that were part of the same series, or in some cases, worked on by their own colleagues. Driver Parallel Lines had the unenviable task of following up the much maligned Drive 3R, after it had pretty much tanked the series' reputation. Released in 2006, Parallel Lines did a somewhat decent job of steadying the driver ship, but it couldn't pass up the opportunity to poke fun at what came before. You see, the gimmick of Parallel Lines is that you can travel between 1978 New York and 2006 New York. with the Big Apple looking different depending on the era that you're in. Well, at this location on the map, you can find a yard with a load of Atari crates. Atari were the publishers of the PS2 and Xbox versions of the game, so it's a cool Easter egg, but nothing special. Well, if you travel to 2006 and visit the same location, the crates will be replaced with this. So inside a dumpster where the Atari crates once stood are hundreds of copies of Driver 3, which is pretty funny. Now this Easter egg isn't in the PC or Wii versions of the game. They were published by Ubisoft, so I'm guessing they weren't as keen to remind people of Driver 3. Oh, and Parallel Lines isn't the only game to mock a game series from its past, and this next Easter egg was removed in record time. The original developers of the Tony Hawk series were Neversoft, who then went on to develop the Guitar Hero games after Harmonix left to create Rock Band with EA. Obviously, we all know what happened to Guitar Hero. Too many games in too short a period of time, coupled with increasingly more expensive and space-consuming peripherals, meant the series was abruptly cancelled. Well, in the recently released Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake, you could see that Activision had plans to introduce even more instruments into the mix. So this box is for Banjo Champion, and judging by it being in the trash, I'm guessing the series wasn't a success. Knocking the trash can over, and we can see that it was indeed developed by Neversoft, and on the back of the box you can find some funny placeholder text that reads, "This text is for the consumer. It cannot prepare you for the amazing game inside. This text is mostly gibberish, but needs to be here anyway. This makes the package feel more complex and makes it feel totally real." Now, many people, including me, thought that this was a funny joke, and nothing more. But the fun police got involved and complained that it was disrespectful to Neversoft, and all the work they had done on both the Tony Hawk and Guitar Hero series. So in the game's very first patch, the Banjo Champion box was removed. I mean, the boxes could also be found in the 1 and 2 remake, but those weren't in the bin, so I'm guessing that people didn't care. Oh, and if that wasn't bad enough, on the shipyard level, a blow-up doll that could be found in a container was also removed, because God forbid a series built on edgy humour dares do something edgy. Now this next Easter egg removal isn't as controversial as some of the others that we've seen today. And in fact, some of you might actually appreciate it. In Hades 2, you have to fight Kronos, the Titan of Time. If his name didn't already make it obvious, Kronos is in charge of the world's bagel supply, and can take away the tasty snack at the click of a finger. Okay, so he's the Titan of Time, what do you think he controls? Anyway, how this manifests itself in-game is pretty clever. If you tried pausing when fighting Kronos, this would happen.
You do not control the flow of time. Not here.
So Kronos would remind you that he controls time, and then promptly unpauses the game. It was a really cool Easter egg, but some people felt that not being able to pause a single player game was unfair. And I do kind of get it, especially as you can pause at any other point in the game. Well, if you try to pause the fight in the latest version of the game, this will happen.
Excuse me? Time does not stop at your behest, it only stops at mine. Oh, but by all means, go attend whatever urgent matter requires you to put our clash on hold, you laggard.
So now, Kronos acknowledges that he is still in control of time, but he gives you the chance to take a break instead of automatically resuming the game. I mean, it's still cool that he acknowledges your pause, but I prefer the original version better. Now, this next Easter egg makes me think that sometimes devs go rogue and sneak something in that no one else knows about, and then when that secret gets out, all hell breaks loose. Pun intended. If you were to head to the rune section in Doom Eternal's menus and then press the chainsaw button 3 times, this would happen. So the name Doom Eternal would appear on screen before disappearing again, which is random. Well, it turns out that this was a reference to popular VTuber Corone, whose community created the dog meme after Corone completed Doom 2016.
I'm a dog!
Like I said, this was probably added by a Corone fan without the rest of the team knowing, but when they got wind of the new Easter egg, it was swiftly removed with a patch. I mean, I'm not sure why it had to be removed, but it was. Right, the final Easter egg is by far my favourite, and to be honest, I can kind of see why it was removed. During the broadcast mission in Dying Light 2, you are told to find Leon and Chris. When you find Leon, he's in bad shape, though his hair is still perfectly curtained.
Aren't you the blind optimist? Chris, he punched through and went that way.
Now, if it wasn't already obvious, Leon here is a reference to Leon Kennedy from the Resident Evil series, with the pair of them even sharing the same 90s boy band haircut. Leon mentions that Chris punched through, and you'll want to remember that as it will be important later. When you finally catch up to Chris, he's already a zombie, so you have no choice but to take him down. Chris here is a reference to Chris Redfield, another character from Resident Evil. Now, you might be thinking that this could just be a coincidence. Not everyone named Leon or Chris is a reference to Resident Evil. Here's the thing, if we take a look at the pair's dog tags, we can see that their names were indeed Leon Kennedy and Chris Redfield, the same names as the Resident Evil characters. Now, some developers may see this as a funny Easter egg, but I'm guessing that Capcom didn't. Whilst never publicly acknowledged, the names of the pair were changed in an update, with Leon Kennedy changed to Leon Kennedy and Chris Redfield changed to Chris Bluefield, which in terms of legal dodging name changes, are pretty funny. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you to all my wonderful Patreons who make these videos possible, and as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon. Oh, and you know how I said to remember that line about Chris punching through? And you'll want to remember that, as it will be important later. See, I did say that. Well, that's because Chris is famously known for punching through a giant ass boulder in Resident Evil 5.